We are at the NCBA summer meeting in Denver and talking now with Ashley McDonald, who is the environmental counsel for NCBA. Ashley, just want to get a few updates. Obviously something that's big on agriculture and really everyone's mind is waters of the U.S. Where are we at as Congress starts going on their August break?
Well, of course, we are in the midst of the comment period at the moment. October 20th is when that comment period ends. So we are trying to get every farmer and rancher across this country engaged in this issue to understand what the agencies have proposed and to send in their comments and their stories to the agencies. Of course, it's really easy to do, but we've really got to get people to take 5 minutes out of their day to send in those comments. So at the same time, of course, the agency is out there on their PR campaign trying to convince farmers and ranchers that this proposal doesn't do any of the things that we think it does, you know, and they are just using those talking points over and over. But unfortunately for them, they're losing that PR battle, and farmers and ranchers are not just convinced that everything will be the same and we can continue business as normal if you expand the Clean Water Act to cover every ditch, pond, and puddle across the country. You know, we're not going to be fooled, and we're not going to take down our guard on this issue. We're going to keep pushing for them to withdraw this rule.
And also, it looks like there's an opportunity that we're making some inroads with maybe some folks in the cities as they're realizing that could have a big impact on them as well.
You're exactly right. Our coalition, which of course is cross-industry, we have a number of groups that represent, you know, home builders, those developments in the suburbs and in the cities, and also our most recent member that joined our coalition is the Professional Golf Association. The PGA has recognized that every pond on every golf course across the country is now going to have to meet those strict water quality standards of their states, and you know, they're going to be restricted pretty heavily on how much fertilizer they go out there and put on those fairways. So I think we are starting to reach folks in the urban communities a little more about exactly how far this regulation does go.
If water wasn't enough of an issue, greenhouse gases has not gone away either, and what they're trying to do, especially to the beef industry.
You're exactly right. Greenhouse gases it's still a top priority for this administration under President Obama, and they just put out more greenhouse gas regulations on the utility sector, and of course eventually that will trickle down and our producers will see higher prices as those coal-fired power plants do close. We also recently had a Supreme Court decision on EPA's authority to regulate greenhouse gases under the Clean Air Act, and that was, unfortunately, they largely upheld EPA's authority to regulate greenhouse gases under the Clean Air Act, but there was a small bright piece for the livestock industry, and that was the court said that unless you are already under a permitting scheme for the Clean Air Act, unless you already have that Title V permit for other pollutants, they cannot require you, the agencies can't require you to get a permit solely for greenhouse gases. So that was an important little caveat that the court put in there, which means that unless we already have, which we don't largely in the cattle industry, unless you already have a Title V program under the Clean Air Act, they can't force you to get a permit for greenhouse gases. So that was an important piece of the decision that just came out from the Supreme Court.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for the update.
No problem. Thank you.
Ashley McDonald, who is environmental counsel for the National Cattlemens Beef Association. In Denver, for AgView, I'm Ken Rahjes.